Hello friends. So let's take up another essay now. The topic is you cannot step twice in the same river. Very cute topic, I would say. I love this topic. Yeah, so let's see what we can think of it, this topic. There can be many interpretations of this topic, and I will try to take a couple of them. I will come to this topic again later, but as of now, today, let's do something about it. You cannot step twice in the same river. So, what it means basically is one interpretation can be that you cannot experience something the way it was experienced for the first time. This is one interpretation I can make out, that the first experience you have of something, that is that it is like stepping for the first time, but you cannot step in the same thing twice. So the second experience will never be the same like the first experience. So the way we very fondly remember the first experience, the way we do not, and obviously do not, remember our subsequent experiences of that. So for example, pleasure of holding a pen for the first time in your life, the first time we remember, I still remember the first time when I hold a pen in my hand to write something. I remember that class, but after that, hundreds and thousands, after that, millions of times I would have hold the pen, but I don't remember that. First kiss and first day in school and college, we all remember that. These are some experiences. So we remember these fond experiences of life. The first time we did that. The second time we do not remember them, and the subsequent times we do not remember them. Now this was also for just a related knowledge. This is also a concept called defamiliarization. In literature, we read about that. It was discussed by Russian formalists. This is not for your knowledge. This is just for your knowledge. No need to remember it exactly. It's a concept of defamiliarization by Russian formalist and Victor Shlovatsky. That was a person who around in 1920s, art as a technique, he tried to discuss that what makes art so unique. So he said that what makes art unique is because whenever we see that, we feel as if we are looking at it for the first time, and we forget that we have seen those things so many times before. So for example, if you see a movie, and in a movie, suppose you see a bad scene or a good scene, you might have seen those kind of things in real life hundreds of times before, or you might have read about those things in newspaper hundreds of times before, like crimes keep taking place. So but we never, it never bothers us, it never catches our attention. In newspaper every day we read that, okay, so and so was murdered, so many people died, but someone was killed, someone was kidnapped. We don't pay attention to that. We read it for a second, we forget it. But when we see something in a movie, the movie presents those things us to us in a way that we still remember it after so many years, because it gives us this illusion that we are looking at it for the first time. That is a beautiful concept. So the first time you do something, you remember it. And here, all these examples are some examples related to pleasure or happiness or joy. And similarly, the opposite way also. The first time you failed in your life, uh, possibly in some exam, you would remember it. Even if you will remember it today, you might start feeling some sadness there. But after so many sadness, we come to terms and we realize, okay, failure is a part and parcel of life. So this is one dimension which you can explore further if you want. The other is historical figures were only once, matlab they lived only once, and Buddha and Mahavira and Gandhi, these people, they can't coming back. They walked there only once. So Kalidas was only once, and the beautiful painters and dancers of the past, they were only once. You cannot have second Lata Mangeshkar, right? So that's the thing here. Now, one very beautiful example of this was that you cannot have second Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa was painted only once. Leonardo da Vinci only walked once. You, you cannot have a second version of that. So the best music, the best dances, the best paintings, which were done at some point of time, they have been lost in that moment, and that moment cannot we cannot get back to that moment. This is a dimension. But friends, for this dimension, I would like to give, I could have thought of it maybe, but here I would like to give credit to it to one of my student in my uh, not in my test series, but in my Telegram group. For example, I had asked this question to the students. That this was a Telegram group of only those students who were writing mains and preparing with me. The topic given to them was the courts of real cannot be recovered. I had given that topic to them just a few days before. On September 8th, I had given this topic to them. The courts of real cannot be recovered. These were just additional topics apart from the test series, just so that they could gather some points. So on 8th September, this was given to them. The courts of real cannot be recovered. Now, if you look at this topic, uh, the topic which is there, what is this? The topic, you cannot step twice in the same river. So you cannot get back to that thing again. So this statement can be interpreted in this line. And there was a student of mine who had interpreted it in that fashion. And here, this is what she had written. Real people, events, and products of creativity live only once. They cannot be exactly copied or imitated as it is. For example, there was no one like Buddha ever lived on earth. No one can create the another painting of Mona Lisa. Ignore the grammar mistakes. It was just typed. So no one can create the another painting of Mona Lisa ever again with the same awe that it stimulated once. Similarly, no one can experience the same feeling of freedom that people of India felt when India got independence, no matter how many times we celebrate it year after year. Hence, real things are forever buried in time and space and cannot be realized in the same way. So, this is what she has written. Real things are forever buried in time and space and cannot be realized in the same way. So, that was a thought which she had, how she had written this thing. The courts of real cannot be recovered. She had written in this respect, but this could also be used. And the main important point which I want to say is with the same interpretation, we can use the same quotation by Baudrillard in this the respect of this essay also, that the courts of real cannot be recovered. Though when I gave this topic, something else was there on my mind. Courts of real cannot be recovered. Okay. Now I will add my own points here. What, how I will use this statement which I had given to them for practice. Courts of real cannot be recovered, and the topic here is you cannot step twice in the same river. So the reality which is there around us, we have got a lot of reality which is stimulated or which is simulated, in the sense which is a copy of it. So we may feel this illusion. We feel that we are actually experiencing the world around us, but actually we are just looking at the copies of those things. So right now, for example, you may feel that you're interacting with me, but no, you are listening to a video copy of what I have already said. Similarly, when you read about US Ukraine issues, then you think about Ukraine Russian issues or war, you think that you have real account of those things, but no, uh, those things are coming to you via videos and photographs and news, and there is a possibility that something might have got corrupted in between. The point is, between the first step which you take in the river and the second step that you take in the river, a lot would have changed, and the river would have never been the same again. So that is a dimension. Okay, if you want to explore, you can explore it. Next, one thing also which we can add here, that's a more realistic stuff here. Overexposure corrupts and pollutes. Uh, so like a lot of pristine places in Ladakh, there were some lakes in upper Himalayas, some high mountains. And now when highways have been built and people are going there on rides very often, then they spoil that sanctity of the place. So in sometimes you will see that in religious places, people are playing and dancing as if it's like Goa. In holy places and holy river banks like Ganga, people come and they drink beer sometimes or hookah. They were in news. These things happen. They assume that it is like Goa. The river Ganga, holy river Ganga, is considered like Goan beaches of Goa by some people. So it is polluted in a way. It gets polluted. I'm not talking about the pollution of these plastics and these things, but our presence there. It is polluting the too much of our presence there, too much of the times we're visiting there. It is polluting that pristine uh, things which are associated with that. So this was the things. Now, if you were to write more about it, okay, one more thing you can, if you want to explore this dimension, is live in the moment. Don't spoil it by complacency. Don't spoil it by some people. For example, they never live in the moment. They are always thinking about future, or they are thinking about some other thing in their life. Don't do that, because that moment will never come back. The point is that moment will never come back. Treasure it, and value it. Give value to the things that are there around you. So these are some of the things which you could have written with respect to this essay. You cannot step twice in the same river. One more dimension, if I have to explore, that is little like I'm stretching too much. When you enter a river, the first step which you take, put okay. The second step, would you continue walking? The second step, when you put in the river, you have to either jump up, or you have to enter into the swimming mode. So you cannot continue to be in a river just walking. At some point of time, you have to, from the walking mode, you have to enter into the swimming mode. From walking, you have to swim, pedal. Here you are walking on your feet. There you have to swim. In a way, you cannot keep doing the same things the way you were doing. You have to change. When time changes, when you enter a river from the land, situation changes, time changes, हालात बदल जाते हैं, जज्बात बदल जाते हैं. तो फिर इन बदले हुए हालात और बदले हुए जज्बातों में you also have to change. You also have to change your approach. So when new circumstances arises, new kind of things you should be doing. So this is enough as of now. If time permits, maybe I will come back to this again. These are the kind of things which you get written here. You cannot step twice in the same river. Okay. So with this, I will end here. I hope this was beneficial to you. Thank you.